Hello boys and girls, this is David here with Solid X State. Yo man, and we're gonna look at a little ditty here out of the Bible. Yeah, we're gonna be looking at the Bible here. Here in this vid, we're gonna be checking out Psalm 53. Why, pray tell, you may ask, are we checking out Psalm 53? Man, for no other reason than it's Psalm 53. You know, I just picked it out of a hat. You know what I'm saying? I just snatched it up. You know, straight up, just like opening a book. What page do you land on? And that's where we landed, man. We landed on Psalm 53. So let's check this business out, man. Let's see what's up with this. Psalm 53. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. Ho ho! Boom! The poor fool. Oh, those poor fools. They always get such a bad rap, you know? Those poor fools. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt and have committed abominable injustice. There is no one who does good. You know, check out a little bit of history, if you will. You know, maybe open a web browser, maybe do a little bit of Google searching, you know, learn a little history. And what you will find is that the profession of atheism has only always led to misery. Atheism as a philosophy, atheism as a worldview, atheism as an objective position, an epistemological, as it were, position. Atheism has only always wrought misery and misfortune. You know, and how is it that I say that? That sounds kind of unfair. That sounds kind of like an extreme accusation to level against the atheists. But you know, I'm just saying, look at history. I'm not saying individual people necessarily. But when a society, when a government, when a world view purports to suppose that atheism is a valid construct, is a real estimation. You know, these societies, these governments, those that have ran under such a flag as this, have found themselves at miserable headwaters, torturous circumstance. Let's keep going here, man. They are corrupt and have committed abominable injustice. Let me revisit this here, man. This is one more before we keep going, man. I'll tell you what, man. Atheism, if you look at history, you know, people will say that, you know, oh, you know, horrible things have been done in the name of God, you know, and religion has caused all the suffering in the world. Really? Is that really the case? Have you done your homework, honey? Have you looked into this thing on which these premise on which you stand? Have you looked into it to find the validity or the error in what you say? Because truth be told, man, you know, those who say there is no God, they have no more cause for a value-oriented view of reality. There's no more cause for it. And suddenly, oppressing one another, robbing from one another, and killing one another doesn't mean anything. And I know that, you know, purporting to say that, well, I don't really believe in God, or you can't really test and see. It doesn't mean that everyone who's out there who doesn't believe in God is immediately a murderer. Right? But if you look at the effect on people as a whole, atheism detracts from the cause of doing good. And that is a historical fact, man. You can check that out yourself. All right, let's keep going here. Verse 2, God has looked down from heaven upon the sons of men to see if there is anyone who understands, who seeks after God. Every one of them has turned aside. Together they have become corrupt. There is none who does good, no, not even one. Have the workers of wickedness no knowledge, who eat up my people as though they ate bread, and have not called upon God? There they were in great fear, where no fear had been, for God scattered the bones of him who encamped against you. You put them to shame because God has rejected them. Oh, that the salvation of Israel would come out of Zion. When God restores his captive people, let Jacob rejoice, let Israel be glad. You know, without a framework in which God is the axiom, in which God is the source of gravity, in which God is that weighted center, in which everything else is in orbit. You know, goodness fades from view. Reason for good fades from view. You know, without God, what does it matter if one is held captive, if one is oppressed, if one is corrupted? What does it matter? Because without God, existence is a profound meaninglessness. A profound oblivion is existence apart from God. Because values would only be subjective, because good would only be subjective. But with God, there is truly that which is good. For in all of the things that God has set in motion, the way of life, the framework of existence, how much more is goodness sourced in that which is real, in that which is evident. And so that the goodness of God is truly good. And that the cause of being restored, that God should set it as a purpose of his to restore his people. To restore, it says, when God restores his captive people, let Jacob rejoice and Israel be glad. You know, it says here in this verse, man, that all men are corrupt, man. The world is corrupt. God has looked down and he's seen, man, the whole thing is, you know, you're all out of sorts. You all are out of sorts. But when you're God's people, when you are God's people, that the salvation of Israel would come out of Zion when God restores his captive people. For clearly to live in this life is to be subject to difficulty, to be subject to trouble, to be subject to the corruption of our own weaknesses. How good is it then to have a God who rises up to the cause of your defense and to restore you from your captivity? How good is that? Is it not the source of gladness, of emotion? That God ultimately is the source of emotion. Not the emotion of despair, despondency, and loss, but the emotion of gladness, of victory, to rejoice in the good that is possible. To rejoice in the good that is possible, that God himself even secures for us. Yeah. Alright, man, that's Psalm 53. You know, that's the whole thing, man, right there. It's like the best cup of coffee ever. You ever had a cup of coffee and you're just like, damn, that is a smoking badass cup of coffee. Boom, that's Psalm 53, man. Psalm 53 is that smoking badass cup of coffee, man. Psalm 53 all the way, all day. Alright, guys, you have a good day yourselves. Good weekend, because it's Friday. So I'll check you out next time.